second. Here we go. Now we're live.
Yeah,
It's
it's like, what are you doing?
I missed my countdown, so let's try it again from the top, shall we? Welcome to our special broadcast of the Camping Show. I'm CW Getz.
And I'm Jessie Meany.
It is Friday. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Saturday, March 12th. Yep, this was supposed to happen on the 11th. That's why I have this here. It's Saturday, March 12th, and we are coming to you live from Canoecopia 2022. We have an 8-degree, just a nice, cozy 8-degree day outside, and it's about 15 degrees inside. No, I'm joking. It's not that bad. Just a little cool where we're at, but it's still comfortable. Better than outside.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah,
Jessie would be dead. Right?
Yeah, right.
She's got an icicle hanging off her nose.
My lips aren't blue yet, so I'm okay.
Yeah. Just keep the hat on. You'll be good, right? Well, today's segment is being brought to you by Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water, with our special guest today, Darren Bush. Jessie, could you tell us a little about Darren, please?
Sure. Darren Bush, owner of Rutabaga Paddle Sports in Madison, Wisconsin, is a veteran paddler and a contributing writer to several top paddling magazines. His paddle sports shop, Rutabaga Paddle Sports, is the host of the famous Canoecopia, the world's largest paddle sports expedition.
And with that, oh, sorry.
It's okay. We're good. We're
Oh,
good.
there's more?
With that,
Please, no.
welcome to the show, Darren. This is
Welcome.
the head of it all. Mr. Darren Bush. There you go. Look at that standing ovation, man. You well deserved, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, Darren, how does it feel to do the show live again?
Wonderful. This is my life, right? It's not just my business. And these people are all family to me. And you guys, everybody here. So being with them again is like a family reunion. And yesterday it was just high fives and hugs. And it's like, thanks for doing this. And, 6 months ago, we're planning this. And you don't know if, a Canoecopia variant pops up. And,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and then who knows, right?
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to plan as if, and about a month out, we think it's going to work.
Yeah.
And so we're really happy about that, obviously. We're happy that we have loud people here. It's awesome.
Everybody's having fun,
We
though.
have plenty of loud people.
Yeah.
No, they're whitewater boaters. That's why. It explains a lot. But I saw a little kid today. I'm like, hey, this is your first Canoecopia. He's like 2.5, right?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And, 2 years ago today, I think, I stood on a chair and said, guys, we're calling it.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but at the same time, not that hard because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And we did it. And that was a good thing because that's right when things started spiking. And, we have 20,000 people in a room. And somebody would have got it and somebody would have died. Right. And I just couldn't take that risk.
Yeah.
Sure.
So last year we did the virtual one, which was awesome. Not the same thing because we like each other's faces.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing faces.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so wonderful.
Darren, I remember it was 2020, not last year. I think we had an interview scheduled. Was it like the next day or so? I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly what it was.
We did. And we did it. I was on my phone
At the Farm and Fleet,
sitting on a riding tractor at Farm and Fleet because I was there picking up stuff for the staff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do remember that. And I told somebody that story, and I said, in fact, that year, I said, Darren did the show from a farm store. And I said, they go, no. I said, yes, he did on his cell phone. So I thought that was pretty cool. But tell us what can showgoers, look forward to, what people can look forward to at this year's show specifically, different maybe than years past.
Well, first of all, the virtual thing worked very well. And part of the benefit of that I didn't really realize until after was that I have a customer who has been coming here for years, but he's in his 80s now. He lives in Arkansas and he's like, I just can't make that drive at my age in March because you never know what's going to happen with the weather.
Right.
He said, so I get to participate virtually. So we had several thousand people. I don't remember how many participated virtually. And a lot of people who normally couldn't participate to come. And that was awesome. So we did it again this year. And the other benefit that we didn't really realize is that I can see one talk an hour. now you can see all of them for 3 months.
Oh,
So you can see all of the talks, and $15 ticket for 90 days. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that is really amazing. Are there any other pros and cons to that when you did the show virtually?
Well, the cons is that you can't see anybody.
Yeah.
The cons is that it's hard to have a community online, and anybody who's been doing Zoom calls for 2 years knows that it's just not the same.
Right.
But we did it, and it kept our community at least more together than they would be if we hadn't done anything. Right. There's pros and cons to everything. The pro is the man that called me from Arkansas and said I get to participate, and I'm really thankful. And I've been receiving emails from people that say thanks for doing that. It's the platform we use it's 5 figures, so we'll probably barely break even on it. But I don't. If you do everything for money, you have a really sad life.
Yeah.
Right.
That what? There's a lot of truth to that. We were just talking before the show about my previous situation pushing the snowflakes down the interstate highway. Good money, but yeah, it really wasn't that much fun for me. Anyway, what kind of feedback, Darren, have you received here since the 2019 show? In all aspects, actually.
Mostly, thank you for doing it again. Thank you for bringing our community back together again. And it's one of those things people who haven't been here may not understand. This really isn't about sales. It's about education and about community. Yeah. That's why we have 7 or 8 speakers going at one time for 2.5 days, and that's so people can learn. But it turns out it's kind of like Aikido, right? It's a martial art that uses no force. You just let things happen. So we educate people, we love them up, and if we do that, they tend to buy things from us. And that's really
that's always nice.
It makes us it allows us to keep doing this, and so it's kind of backwards from there's no hard sell. Yeah, all of our manufacturers are here just to teach.
Yeah, it's like a nice flow of energy. Really.
Right. And what happens is someone goes to a booth and says, hey, I need this boat. And they'll say, you know what? I really don't have anything that does that. Let me walk you over to my neighbor. And so everybody here is a friendly competitor. Yeah. The real hardcore people we've weeded out over the years.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Hey, feel free, everyone, to chime in with a question for Darren or a comment, if you would. I'm sure we'll put them on the screen for him to field. So
not all at once.
Not all at once. Don't flood. Don't flood. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
So how many years have you been putting on Canoecopia?
More than I haven't, which is really weird. I turn 60 next month. Which is kind of weird because I don't feel like that at all. I mean, my sense of humor is 14, my brain's 35, and my body's 60. And but I started in 1990 with my first Canoecopia, and I was working part-time at this little canoe shop. And then it was 4 years later, I think 5 years later, that I took it over because it grew. And the guy that owned the shop before me was not an organized person. So we started having floor plans and not just set up over there. And speakers blew up. We went from 1 speaker an hour to 5 to 7 to 9. Wow. And it just kind of it changed into the thing that I wanted it to be, which is a community. And if you've noticed, like the old rendezvous they did during the fur trade, I mean, they'd go out for a year and trap and trade. They'd come back to the big, like Grand Portage, the big forts, and they'd, sell their stuff and trade their stuff. And then they'd like drink everything that they made and then go back out again for another year. But it's like rendezvous, commerce is happening there, but that's not the reason they do it. Right. They do it because they want to be together and swap stories and trade stuff and just be in a community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rutabaga's mission statement is we exist to create and promote communities that celebrate the outdoors. You notice paddling is not mentioned. That's how we do our mission statement. is to use paddling to support and create communities that support the outdoors and love the outdoors.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm not a hard sell guy, right? I just do what I do.
I've noticed that about you. You're not the bam, buy from me, buy this. You don't do that. You're very, very laid back that way.
If you love people, they'll buy things from you. Isn't that interesting?
Well, that kind of lends itself to the conversation we were having earlier. And I said, hey, here's the king. They're in charge of everything. So I'm not in charge. And how do you? Interestingly, you do approach the business, Rutabaga that way as well. Is this show? I mean, what is the mindset? I mean, really, how do you how do you feel about everything? You keep all this into perspective, I guess, let's say.
The thing that I'm most proud of is that I have the best team in the world. They're all wonderful people. I love them all like they were my own family. And they know who I am and know what my values, my ethics are. And they used to say, hey, what do I do? I'm like, what would I do? You know what I would do. And they're like, yeah, okay, do that. And so now it's like once in a while I get a question when there's some ambiguity, but most of the time it's like, yeah, I just took care of it. And it's like, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
So if you empower people, I hate all this business talk, right?
Yeah.
It's like, just, if you love people and treat them with respect and give them the tools they need and the room, they'll just do a good job.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that.
And if they don't, you pick the wrong people.
Yeah.
And so, I've had three employees that left in the past 3 years who came back. One came back in about 6 months. One came back in about 1.5 years. And the other one came back after a year in Florida.
Oh, wow. Why would you come back from Florida?
I have no idea, because FloridaMan.com, that's why.
Yeah. Florida.
Have you seen FloridaMan.com?
Oh, no. What is that all about?
Just look at it. It's like all the news of, the guy that tried to, smuggle marijuana in his service dog's backpack.
Oh, wow.
It's weird stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, it's Florida Man. So
what's the boss thing that you were mentioning before the show was about the at the funeral? What was that?
Oh,
about?
so yeah, I saw this on Instagram. It's like at my funeral, boss lays hand gently on casket and says, "I'm really sorry you did this today. We're really short staffed."
Isn't that the truth though?
And
That's
so
really...
so many of us have been in that like working position where we don't feel like we're valued. We're just there as a body to, get the job done. I've had that before.
The guy that owned the business before me, one time he said, "Hey, we got a project. Throw some bodies at it." And I said, "Wait, what?" I said, "They're not bodies. They're people."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah." So,
yeah.
Right.
I bet he was a great boss, right?
No comment on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I bought the business.
Yeah.
It was like 2002. I turned 40 and I said, well, I'm either quitting or buying it, but I'm not going to work for this joker anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot when you did say you bought it because
2002. I bought it with a partner, Jeff Weedman, a really good friend of mine too.
Yeah.
We bought it together, and he said, "I'll give you 5 years, and then I'm retiring," because he was a little older than me, and he had retired already once.
Wow!
So in 2007, I bought him out, and then the recession happened.
Yeah, right.
I mean, those were rough years, and I have a wonderful bank and a wonderful banker, and it's one of those things where, again, if you do what you say you're going to do, my loan would come up and the numbers are kind of woofy, and he's like, it's Darren, he always pays us back. And so there you go, right? It's all about relationships.
Well, I remember when we talked in 2020, we were talking about all that stuff because there was some financial loss and all that happened when you.
Yes, there was.
Yes, and we were not going to do a show. But I will tell you had an overwhelming amount of support from, people who were, who would typically attend Canoecopia. I mean, just everybody sort of pouring out there, hey, I'm really sorry and really support you, and what you're doing is everything's going to be okay. That had to make you feel pretty good, I would imagine, right?
Well, Well, yes. The bank, my banker called me the next day and said, "Hey, sorry, don't worry about the loan. We'll work it out later. Just focus on what you're doing."
Yeah. That's
And,
a pretty cool thing.
Oh, he's wonderful, though. I mean, the bank president is a friend. He knows my kids' names. So this is why, here's a public service announcement. If you bank at Bank of America or Wells Fargo or anybody that doesn't know your first name, get out, find a community bank, and keep your money local and keep your relationships local. But and then people are like, "Can I get a refund?" I'm like, "Sure." And they're like, or you can save them for next year. And they're like, "Oh, we'll just save them."
Yeah.
So this year, people are like, "Save my wristband." And I'm like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
So there was a financial hit. You know what? Whatever. Right.
Yeah. It's nice that you didn't freak out about it. You didn't panic and you didn't, go crazy and you weren't mad. I mean, at least I didn't know that you were mad, but you handled that very well. Much the same as you run your business. I mean,
there's a saying, I guess, I don't know what it'd be a saying or whatever, but like with pilots, when there's an emergency, you do three things: aviate, navigate, communicate. The first thing you do is keep flying the airplane.
Yeah.
Don't panic. Don't think about what's going to happen, because, and I think I said to you in last interview, I said, you either hit the ground hard, you hit the ground soft.
Yeah.
You don't have any control over that. All you can control is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did for like 3 weeks is, okay, keep flying the airplane. Let's keep flying the airplane. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the weather. We don't know. We're just going to keep flying the airplane. And after about a month, it's like, okay, now let's navigate. Let's figure out where we're going to go. Yeah. And we made a lot of changes. We did curbside pickup and stuff like that.
Oh, I remember that.
Started making appointments for people to come in and look at stuff. Well, it turns out that people like curbside pickup even when there's not COVID.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they like making appointments to come in. And it turns out that all these things we did for COVID were good ideas anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so COVID was a harsh but wonderful mistress, right?
Yeah, right.
COVID taught me a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so many nice little benefits. I love grocery pickup even, that's like something I never really worried too much about, maybe one or two items, but now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm homeschool my kids, so I'm a mom, I'm a business owner. Like, I love the convenience of being able to do things like that.
Yeah, it's like click, drive in, open your trunk, plop.
Yeah.
And
tip the person who loads it up for you. That's what my husband always says too. Like, help out the workers.
You know who tips the most? Business owners and service workers.
Oh, that's true.
Because we know. Right?
Yeah.
So and the people that tip the worst, you don't have to. You know who they are. They know the price of everything and the value of nothing.
Yeah, so. And they make themselves known in that way as well. Yeah. So
yeah.
That's interesting.
You know who I am? No, and I don't want to.
I love it.
So, gliding into 2022, is there anything at this year's show that we need to be aware of? Any new, any changes?
Well, I did a couple things. Number one is we went to 15-foot aisles just to keep it less congested.
Nice.
And mostly it's because people want to they're not yet used to cramming against each other yet. They're still used to, being separated. Yeah. So this was a nice baby step into a post-COVID world. And, personal space is now 6 feet instead of 3. So let's just open things up and let it breathe. And we'll lose some revenue because we gave up sellable space. Okay, whatever. I mean, have you gotten the idea that I really like to get paid, but I don't really care about money?
I hadn't noticed, not at all.
I mean, we need to eat.
Right.
My staff need to get paid, and they're paid well, and they're starting to buy houses and getting married and marrying other employees. It really is a family. And so, people keep score in different ways. Some people like, do you have a yacht or a second house or whatever? It's like my score is how many employees own houses.
Nice.
So,
I like your score.
Yeah.
The way you keep score. Yeah.
It's a good score.
Much better. Well, let me ask you this, Darren. What kind of cheating on my notes on the side? I'm going to put them in front of me so I can read them. Okay, this is kind of a personal sort of thing. What kind of fun, interesting things do you have planned for yourself? And just in the upcoming weeks. I mean, I'm talking trips, vacations. We all know the business end of it, but what does Darren do to unwind? With the family or friends here in the upcoming spring, summer months.
Well, a couple things. Number one is I'm building a new shop, so that's not recreational at all. It's really challenging. It's hard, because any construction's bad. Any construction during COVID is worse, and any construction when you find out the soil you're building on is a swamp and needs
another
$100 grand into the foundation. And it's just like, I can't control it. It's what it is. So we just move forward.
Holy smokes!
So that's stressful, but again, I can leave and my staff just run everything. It's fine. So I'm out of the office doing that stuff. As far as trips go, I'm going to Baja next month.
Nice.
We're going to do a paddling trip from La Paz to Laredo up the Cia Cortez. Doing that. That's about as far out as I can go vacation wise. We've got our kayak symposium in July, which I consider to be a workcation. I love it. I love the people there and I love the community there. And that's great. We rent a little cabin up north once a year. Just take the family up and just chill. And I think that's as far out as I've planned. I'm going to go to Italy next year.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been there. I haven't been there in 2 years, so it's time to go back.
You know what? I've been waiting to go to Italy myself. What part of Italy are you going
to? We are going to Sicily.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
Good food.
Probably superb food.
Well, yes. The best food in Italy is actually in Puglia, which is the heel of the boot.
Oh, okay.
And I lived there in Puglia for about a year.
Yeah.
And that's when you look at the pasta in the supermarket, look at the back, it's probably from Puglia.
Oh,
stuff
wow.
that's imported. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. Doing some exploratory trips in 2023. Rutabaga Outdoor Adventures is the class and adventure arm of our business. So we're going to start doing international trips in 2024. I really like doing international trips.
Yeah. Well, I think the internationals are definitely fun.
So we're going to do a little different because Rutabaga always does things a little bit different. We're not going to stay in really nice hotels. We're going to stay in 2-star pensione and eat local food and have locals come in and do cooking classes with locals and paddle in pretty places that no one ever goes because they don't know about it. And we're just going to do that.
Now, do you have friends in Italy or family like I do, or
not? I've got lots of friends there. I live there, so but with Italy, it's like I can go like 10 years without seeing someone, and you go back there, and it's like, hey, hug, kiss.
You just left yesterday, right?
Exactly. And
cool.
And that's how Italians are. They're very lovely people. If you speak Italian, it's even better, especially in small towns. They're shocked this tall, bald guy actually speaks Italian.
Now, and there's a difference. There's Northern Italian, there's Southern Italian. Which do you?
Well, it's funny because I have a little bit of a Sicilian accent.
Okay.
So dialects are different.
Yes.
So every dialect has its own dialect. But so in the north, CI is more ch. In the south, it's more sh. So it's not Sicilia, it's Sicilia.
Okay.
So when I go north, they're like, ugh.
They probably right.
Like, yeah,
well, that's
whatever.
That's because of the past history. All the criminals were in Sicily, right?
No.
They didn't give that.
No. I mean, the mafia thing is very different than people think it is.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, I've never had any problem. And it's like, if you're nice to people, I was driving around with my son, Ian, about 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I think. Oh, he's in high school, so 10 years ago. And we got a little bit lost because there were some mudslides that closed off these roads in rural area. And I pull up and ask this lady, hey, you know what? These are closed from roadsides. How do I go? And she's just like, oh, yeah. yeah, that was Italian. She's like, oh, how cool.
Yeah.
And then 3 guys come over and give me 4 different directions because that's Italy, right?
Yeah, right.
No, don't go that way, go this way. And she's like, you want to come inside and have a bite to eat and a glass of wine? I'm like, no, I gotta go, but thank you. But that's Sicily, total strangers, just being sweet.
I just remember I had a Sicilian girlfriend once, and I helped her, worked in her pizza place when I was younger. And I just remember the phrase. There were 2 phrases. One was guardo il forno and guardo la gente. I remember
look at the oven and watch the people and watch the oven.
Exactly what it was.
Yep, watch the oven and watch the people.
Stuck in my brain, absolutely. Hey, I want to ask you, Jesse. I know you got a question for him. I want to ask you this real quick, Darren. You've recently taken up the banjo. Yeah, and I want you to tell us about that, and I want you to let us know what inspired you the banjo. I mean, you just don't see a lot of banjos, especially in this area.
Well, so I'm a firm believer in learning things that are new and being bad at things, because everybody should have to do something new.
Yeah.
Just to keep your brain going, keep your brain fresh. So
Absolutely.
I decided I needed to learn something new, and I play the mandolin and a little bit of guitar. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn this. And it came from Ashley Cottle, who plays with Jerry. I said, get a banjo. And I had a table saw accident a few years ago. Well, 20 years ago now, I think. And so I can't pick anymore with my right hand, but I can do claw hammer style. Okay. And it's actually it's already shaped for a claw hammer. So I started doing FaceTime lessons with Ashley from Nashville.
Oh, wow.
And we did that for about 6 months or 7 months, and then she got busy on the road, and I just keep practicing, and I play every day and just love it.
That's pretty cool. When I started, and you and I had this conversation about the banjo, and I started out with a teacher, and I just thought, you know what, I wanted to go a little different route. I got a video, a DVD of how to play banjo, and you get the finger rolls and things like that. I couldn't get my fret hand to work properly, but I like the idea that you had it was a live teacher and you did it that way.
Yeah, YouTube's awesome for how to change the MF filter, but it's not great for learning how to play an instrument. You need to have some feedback. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the left hand's job is to keep up with the right hand, basically.
Yeah, right.
You said you had some prior music experience, or did you just pick up?
Yeah, no, I've had some prior music experience.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a vocalist, and I actually had a music scholarship to school and turn it down because I didn't want to starve to death like my uncle did. He was a professional musician. Wow. But I still play. It was for tuba, actually. So tuba and banjo, right?
Yeah.
2 favorite instruments.
Yeah. And trumpet and drums, same way. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to share with us today?
My life is really rich. And
that's cool.
And it's really beautiful, and it's sometimes really hard. And people say, oh, you have so much courage for doing this. And so, I don't even look at it that way. It's more like, this is my life and this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And when it came time to build a new building, I'm like, okay, so Darren, you're 60. You can either shut down Rutabaga, liquidate, walk away with some money, and have a nice retirement. But that was the wrong thing to do, because we wouldn't be sitting here if I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
People wouldn't be able to find good equipment, and people wouldn't be able to be in a community together, and I wouldn't get to see people. And I love going to work every day.
Yeah.
I love my work. I don't love how much of it there is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally understand that.
So it's just when you have a life like mine that's so rich, and people like you are part of it. Same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like you're
appreciate that.
Pretty strong foundation for a lot of people, for a large community.
Which is really weird, because it's like I'm not the archetypal leader. I didn't start out to do this. I'm actually pretty introverted, but the love and affection I have overcomes the introversion. So I guess I never thought of it that way, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I totally appreciate your attitude and the way you approach things, and it's very noble. And I mean, that's the way we're supposed to be. That's the way
I don't know another
taught.
way. This is how it's just what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and I do want to mention this too. We're thrilled to have Rob Kesselring here at the show this year, and especially being able to interview him here live at our booth. So I just wanted to say thank you for having him be a part of this, a big part of this show. So
I'm great to have him, and we've got a couple things this year where like Cliff Jacobson isn't here live because of, he's probably not in the best of immunosuppression. I mean, he's probably not, he probably shouldn't be around crowds, and he's a little bit concerned about that. So we're just going to stream him in, which we learned how to do last year.
Yeah. And he'll be here with us later on broadcast. And I'm trying to tell you what time, but I think it's like 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's right. So, yeah.
So that's another thing we learned is how you can adapt. And so we've got some Canadians that can't make it down here. Kevin can't be here. So my basement is empty. Usually Kevin sleeps in a cot in my basement.
We had him up here with a question.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anyone sleeping? What is it? What is it, Jesse?
Hi, Darren. Anyone taking my spot in your basement this year?
No, we would never do that. But I will tell you, my daughter is emceeing Aluminum Chef.
Oh, wow.
Because she's way funnier than I am and is a middle school science teacher. So she knows how to control a crowd.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
That'll be fun.
Well, listen, Darren, we'd both like to thank you for being here today with us as our guest, and it was always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Rutabaga Paddle Sports for bringing you this special broadcast.
Be sure to tune in for our next broadcast at 1 o'clock this afternoon with our special guest, Cliff Jacobson.
Awesome.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in to the camping show at Canoecopia.
This is C.W. Getz
and Jesse Meany
reminding you,
learn more,
do more. See you at 1 o'clock.
Bye, everyone.